This is the moment everything changes. Not slowly, not gently, but all at once. The Bridgerton Season 4 Episode 5 trailer does not tease romance. It warns us. It feels heavier, sharper, almost dangerous. And if the first look at Part 2 tells us anything, it is this. Someone is about to lose control, and the consequences will not be small. Episode 5 appears to be the true beginning of Part 2, not a continuation. A shift. The trailer opens with silence before the music rises, and that silence feels intentional. We see faces we recognize, but their expressions are different now. Softer hope has been replaced with tension. Benedict is no longer standing at a distance, confused by his own heart. He looks like a man who understands what he is about to lose. And Sophie? She does not look heartbroken anymore. She looks prepared. The first major clue in this trailer is distance, physical distance. There is a noticeable space between them in every frame. No stolen glances filled with longing. No soft smiles. Instead, we see hesitation. We see pride. We see the aftermath of a choice that cannot be undone. Episode 5 seems to pick up right where everything fell apart. And it makes one thing clear. Sophie is not waiting. There is a powerful image of her walking forward while Benedict stands still. It is subtle, but it says everything. In Part 1, he was the one searching. Now she is the one moving. And that movement feels final. The trailer hints that Sophie may have made a decision before Benedict is ready to make his own. And that imbalance creates tension that runs through every second of the first look. But what truly changes the tone of Episode 5 is the shift from romance to consequence. The whispers are louder now. The glances from society feel colder. The world around them is closing in. We see brief flashes of gatherings where conversations stop abruptly. Eyes turn. Judgments form without words. It feels like something has already begun spreading through the ton. A rumor. An accusation. A secret that refuses to stay hidden. And at the center of it all is Sophie. The trailer suggests that episode the 5th of May revolve around a public moment. Not private heartbreak. Public pressure. There is a split second where Sophie stands alone while others watch. No one steps forward. No one speaks in her defense. And the silence around her feels louder than any insult. If this is the beginning of her humiliation, then episode the 5th of May be where her strength is tested the most. Benedict's reaction in these moments is what makes this trailer unforgettable. He does not look confused anymore. He looks alarmed. As if he finally understands that his hesitation has consequences beyond his own fear. There is urgency in the way he moves, urgency in the way he looks toward her. But urgency does not erase damage, and episode 5 seems determined to explore that truth. Another important detail in the first look is the growing tension within the Bridgerton family itself. We see Anthony watching carefully. Not angry, not calm. Calculating. The weight of the family name hangs over every scene, and if society begins questioning Sophie openly, then the pressure on Benedict will double. This will no longer be about love alone. It will be about reputation. The music in the trailer tells us everything we need to know. It is darker than before. The soft orchestral romance is replaced with heavier strings, rising and falling like a warning. The editing feels faster. The pauses feel shorter. Episode 5 is not giving us comfort. It is building momentum. There is also a noticeable focus on Sophie's expression. She looks different, stronger, quieter, almost as if she has reached a breaking point and decided she will not bend anymore. If Part 1 was about discovery, Episode 5 feels like confrontation. She may finally stop asking to be chosen, and instead choose herself. And that possibility changes everything. Because if Sophie steps away completely, if she refuses to wait for Benedict to catch up emotionally, then Episode 5 becomes the turning point of the entire season. Not because they reunite, but because they might not. The trailer does not show us reconciliation. It shows us resistance. It shows us a woman who has lived in the shadows too long, and a man who waited too long to step into the light. And somewhere between those two realities lies the real conflict of Part 2. Episode 5 feels like the storm before the confession, the pressure before the breaking point. And if this first look is accurate, then Part 2 will not be about fairy tale fantasy. It will be about accountability. Because love in the Bridgerton world has never survived on feelings alone. It survives on courage. And the trailer makes one thing painfully clear. Dot begins where the pressure tightens. Episode 5 does not slow down after that first emotional shift. It deepens it. The trailer makes it clear that whatever rumor has started is no longer quiet. It is spreading. And in the world of the ton, whispers are more dangerous than weapons. There is a striking moment where conversations pause the second Sophie enters a room. No one says her name, yet everyone is thinking it. That kind of silence is not accidental. It is social exile beginning in real time. And the most painful part is that Sophie sees it. She feels it. But she does not lower her head. This is where the trailer becomes even more intense. Because instead of showing her breaking, it shows her standing taller. The girl who once hid behind servant duties now stands in open view. And that shift is powerful. It suggests that episode the 5th of May revolve around her reclaiming control of her narrative before someone else defines it for her. The tension is no longer about whether Benedict loves her. It is about whether he will stand beside her when the world turns against her. One of the most discussed details in the first look is a confrontation that appears unavoidable. There is a glimpse of raised voices in what looks like a formal setting. Faces look shocked. A hand slams against a surface. It feels like a public accusation is unfolding. The trailer does not confirm what is said, but the emotional weight tells us everything. If Sophie is being accused of something serious, possibly theft or deception, then episode 5 becomes a battlefield. Not of swords, but of status. And in that battlefield, reputation is everything. There is also a brief but meaningful moment where Benedict looks toward Anthony again, but this time his expression is different from earlier in the season. It is not defensive, it is pleading. As if he is asking for understanding rather than permission. That change alone signals growth. For seasons, Benedict has lived in the shadow of expectations. Now he may finally realize that love requires stepping into conflict, not avoiding it. But here is where the emotional tension rises even higher. What if Anthony hesitates? The family name carries power, protection, influence, but it also carries fear of scandal. If the accusation against Sophie threatens the Bridgertons directly, then episode the 5th of May forced the family to choose between tradition and truth. And that decision will not be easy. The trailer also hints at something more strategic happening behind the scenes. A quiet exchange. A knowing look. It suggests that someone is orchestrating this chaos deliberately. Lady Araminta's presence feels stronger in this episode. There is a coldness in her expression, a calm confidence that suggests she believes she has control. If she is behind the rumors, then episode 5 is not just emotional, it is calculated. What makes this so compelling is that Sophie seems aware of it. There is a powerful close-up where she looks directly ahead, not frightened, but resolute. It is the look of someone who knows the truth and refuses to be silenced by lies, and that quiet strength could be what shifts the balance of power. Meanwhile, the trailer gives us another crucial hint. Penelope is watching. Again, but this time her gaze feels investigative, not curious. We see a fleeting moment of her writing with urgency. In this world, information can destroy or it can save. If she begins digging into Sophie's past, into her birth, into the necklace that keeps appearing as a silent symbol, then episode the 5th of May plant the seeds for a revelation that changes everything. Because if the truth about Sophie's identity surfaces, the entire accusation could collapse. But that truth may not arrive in time. The pacing of the trailer suggests that episode 5 will build tension slowly before reaching a dramatic peak. The music swells at the exact moment Benedict appears to step forward in a crowded room. It is a subtle but significant image. His posture is firm. His hesitation seems gone. For the first time this season, he looks certain, and certainty is dangerous in the best way. However, Sophie's reaction remains the biggest question. Even if Benedict defends her publicly, even if he challenges the accusations, will that erase the pain of his earlier offer? The trailer cleverly avoids showing any reconciliation. Instead, it focuses on their separate journeys, two people changing at the same time but not necessarily together. There is also a softer yet equally important thread running through episode 5. Violet appears concerned, watching her son with a mix of pride and worry. It feels like she understands what is happening before he does. And that maternal awareness adds another emotional layer. If Benedict chooses to fight for Sophie openly, he will not only challenge society. He will challenge expectations within his own home. The overall tone of this section of the trailer feels like rising heat before a storm breaks. Every glance lasts a second longer. Every pause feels heavier. No one is relaxed. No one is untouched by what is happening. Episode 5 seems designed to force movement. Number more hiding? No more half choices. And at the center of it all stands Sophie, no longer just the mystery girl in silver, but a woman who refuses to disappear quietly. If part 1 was about longing, episode 5 is about confrontation. It is about who speaks when silence is safer. It is about who steps forward when stepping forward costs everything. And the trailer makes one thing clear. By the end of this episode, someone will have made a choice that cannot be undone. Dot is where the emotional tension transforms into something even more powerful. Revelation. Episode 5 does not simply build pressure around Sophie and Benedict. It begins to peel back layers that have been hidden since the very beginning of the season. The trailer strongly suggests that secrets will no longer remain quiet, and once truth enters the room, nothing stays the same. One of the most repeated visual clues in this first look is the necklace. It appears again, but this time the focus is deliberate. The camera does not just show it, it lingers. And in a series like Bridgerton, that kind of focus is never random. The necklace is not just jewelry, it is identity. It is proof. It connects Sophie to a past that someone tried to erase. And episode 5 feels like the moment that past begins to resurface. There's a brief but intense image of documents being handled carefully, almost urgently. Though the trailer does not confirm what they are, the implication feels clear. Someone is searching for something official, records, evidence, a name that was buried. If Penelope is involved and the trailer strongly hints that she is, then the investigation may already be in motion. Her expression while writing is not playful. It is focused, serious, as if she understands that what she is about to uncover could protect someone or destroy someone else. And here's where the power balance shifts. If Sophie's true birthright begins to surface in episode 5, the accusation against her becomes fragile. Because society forgives scandal more easily when status protects it. The same tongue that whispers against her could fall silent the second her name carries weight. But this is where the emotional conflict becomes deeper. If the truth saves her socially, does it truly solve what happened between her and Benedict? The trailer shows Benedict alone again, but this time he does not look lost. He looks reflective. There is a difference. In earlier episodes, his confusion came from fear of society. Now his struggle seems internal. Regret is visible in the way he moves, in the way he pauses before speaking. It feels like episode 5 will force him to confront himself fully, not just what he feels, but why he hesitated. There is also a powerful moment hinted at in the trailer where he appears to step into a tense gathering with purpose. The room looks unsettled, people are already whispering. And Benedict does not stand at the edge this time. He moves forward. That shift in physical positioning says everything. He is no longer observing the consequences, he is entering them. But the most suspenseful element of Section 3 is Sophie's reaction to the possibility of truth coming out. Because while revelation could restore her place in society, it also risks reopening wounds. Her entire life has been shaped by being hidden, by being denied. If episode 5 reveals her noble connection publicly, it will not just shock the ton, it will shake her identity. And the trailer captures this beautifully through her expression. There is a moment where she looks almost overwhelmed, but not weak. Strong people can feel deeply without collapsing, and Sophie embodies that strength here. It feels like she is standing at the edge of a transformation she never asked for, yet fully deserves. Meanwhile, tension continues to rise within the Bridgerton family. Anthony's role becomes even more critical in this section. His earlier caution may begin to shift once facts emerge. If evidence confirms that Sophie's position was unjustly stolen, then protecting the family name and protecting her may no longer be in conflict. That alignment could be the key that unlocks support Benedict desperately needs. But episode 5 will not hand that support easily. The trailer hints at a deeply emotional private exchange between Benedict and Sophie. The lighting appears softer, the environment quieter. But the tension remains intense. This does not look like a dramatic declaration. It looks like honesty. Benedict speaking carefully without pride. Sophie listening without interruption. And that dynamic is important. For the first time, it feels balanced. No one chasing. Just truth. However, the suspense lies in whether that truth is enough. Because growth does not erase pain instantly. The trailer avoids showing any embrace, any immediate reconciliation. Instead, it focuses on eye contact. Long, unguarded eye contact. And sometimes that is more powerful than a kiss. It suggests that episode 5 is less about resolution and more about understanding. There is also a growing sense that Lady Araminta's control is slipping. Her composed exterior appears strained in one fleeting image. If her manipulation begins to unravel due to emerging evidence, then her desperation could escalate. And desperation makes people reckless. Episode the 5th of may not end with her defeated. It may end with her cornered. The overall tone of this section of the trailer feels like a tide turning. Slowly, steadily, secrets surfacing, loyalties being tested, love no longer hiding behind excuses. And at the center of it all stands a question that defines this entire episode. When the truth is finally revealed, who will have the courage to stand beside it? Feels like the edge of something irreversible. Episode 5 does not simply build toward revelation. It builds toward decision. The trailer makes it clear that by the end of this episode, someone will step forward in a way that changes everything. Not with hesitation, not with half words, but with certainty. The tension that has been rising through whispers, accusations, and hidden truths now begins to focus on one central question. Who will claim control of the narrative? Because once Sophie's identity begins to surface, once doubts start forming around the accusations against her, the power dynamic shifts rapidly. The same society that turned its back may suddenly pretend it never did. And that hypocrisy is something the trailer quietly exposes. There is a striking moment where faces that once looked judgmental now appear uncertain. It is subtle but powerful. Reputation in this world is fragile. And episode 5 seems ready to shatter illusions. But the true climax of this section revolves around Benedict. For the first time all season, he does not look torn between two worlds. He looks resolved. The trailer shows him walking with purpose into what appears to be a formal gathering. Conversations slow. Attention shifts, and his expression carries no doubt. This is not the dreamy artist avoiding responsibility. This is a man prepared to speak. The suspense lies in what he will say. Will he publicly defend Sophie before her name is cleared? Will he risk scandal even before society changes its mind? That distinction matters, because choosing her when it is safe is not the same as choosing her when it is dangerous, and the trailer strongly suggests that episode 5 will test that difference directly. There is also an emotional undercurrent in this final stretch of the trailer that feels almost final, as if the season itself is shifting into a new phase. Violet's presence in the background of one key moment feels symbolic. She watches not as a controlling matriarch, but as a mother witnessing her son become a man. If Benedict speaks boldly, if he claims Sophie without waiting for permission, it will not just define his love story, it will define his character. And yet, the biggest uncertainty remains Sophie's response. The trailer avoids showing her reaction clearly in these climactic moments. Instead, it gives us fragments, a steady gaze, a deep breath, a pause before stepping forward. Those details matter, because Sophie's journey has never been about being rescued. It has been about being respected. If Benedict's declaration comes, she will not accept it simply because it sounds romantic. She will measure it. She will feel whether it is rooted in courage or convenience. There is a powerful image near the end of the trailer that feels symbolic of this entire season. Sophie standing at the edge of a grand room, no longer dressed as someone hiding in the background. The lighting is brighter around her. People are watching, but this time not whispering. Waiting. It feels like a transformation moment. Not because society suddenly approves, but because she stands without shame. If her noble identity is confirmed in this episode, the impact will ripple through every storyline. Lady Araminta's carefully built control could collapse publicly. The accusations could dissolve. And the same room that once isolated Sophie could witness her restoration. But the emotional weight of that restoration depends on timing. If Benedict stands beside her before the truth is fully accepted, his love becomes undeniable. If he waits until it is safe, Sophie may see it differently. The music in the final seconds of the trailer rises dramatically, almost like a heartbeat accelerating before a confession. But instead of showing us the confession, it cuts away. That cut is intentional. It leaves the audience suspended between fear and hope. And that is exactly where episode 5 wants us. Because this episode feels like the turning point not only of part 2, but of the entire season. The fairy tale fantasy of the Lady in Silver has transformed into something deeper. Real love, risk, reputation on the line, and choice. Anthony's role may also evolve here. If he stands publicly with Benedict, it signals unity within the family. If he hesitates, it raises the stakes even higher. Either way, the Bridgertons as a whole cannot remain neutrality completely. Silence becomes betrayal. Distance becomes weakness. And then there is the lingering threat of Lady Araminta. The trailer hints that her composure cracks for just a second. A tightening of her jaw, a flash of anger in her eyes. If her strategy fails, she will not retreat quietly. This episode may not end her influence entirely, but it will likely expose it. And exposure is the beginning of defeat. As the trailer fades, one thing becomes certain. Episode 5 is not about whether Benedict and Sophie love each other. That question was answered long ago. It is about whether love is strong enough to stand in daylight, whether it can survive scandal, pride, and fear. Someone will speak, someone will choose, someone will finally step out of the shadows. And when that moment happens, the balance of power in Bridgerton Season 4 will shift forever. Because Episode 5 is not just another chapter. It is the moment where hiding ends.